When it comes to style, if there's one thing I noticed that most guys struggle with, it's definitely pant fitment. See, most of us think that flashy logos, big brands, or expensive jewelry will improve our style. But the truth is, proper style has much more to do with understanding color, dressing for the occasion, and most importantly, fitment. And understanding proper pant fitment alone can literally transform your style overnight. But you're probably wondering, how exactly do we go from this to this? My friends, this is the topic of today. And I've got an easy 3-step process that'll always get you that perfect pant fitment every single time. Let's get started. For a good pant fitment, I highly recommend starting with your waist fitment. If your pants are hanging off your butt or too tight in the waist area, then it pretty much ruins the fitment everywhere else. So it's a good idea to get yourself measured if you happen to be unaware of your waist size. And if you're in between sizes, always choose to size up. Now you want to ask your tailor to cinch the waist of your trousers for a secure fit. And what I mean by secure is firm enough that you don't need a belt to keep your pants up, but also not so firm that you're cutting off any circulation. And now that we've got our waist fitment squared away, let's move on to pant length. This is exactly where a lot of us miss the boat. But before we get too deep into pant length, it's important to understand that different fabrics will fall differently. And because of that, they should also be altered in a slightly different manner. But let's start with dress trousers. So here's a pair of dress trousers not properly hemmed, and it's typically the way I'd see most gents wearing them. What you want to shoot for is a full or half break. And essentially, what this means is the number of folds or ruffles that your pants have. As you can see, I've got quite a bit of ruffles going on here. So we'll ask our tailor to decrease our pant length until there's just about 1 to half of a fold while standing perfectly upright. For jeans and khaki trousers, a little more folds are appropriate, and it really comes down to an eye test and what looks good to you. These fabrics have significantly more weight than a dress trouser, so they tend to fall much differently. And having a little more folds prevents your jeans and khakis from either riding up and looking too short or too tight. But more on this later. Now let's talk about accentuating your body type. See, the whole purpose of tailoring your clothes is obviously to fit your body perfectly. But we can all agree that the idea of perfection is totally subjective. And this is the perfect opportunity for me to make a disclaimer that this video is more about a modern and more sophisticated style, as opposed to super wide leg or baggy fitment. And hey, there's nothing wrong with those styles. But if that happens to be your preference, then there are plenty of other menswear experts that cover those styles in depth. Okay, so when it comes to taking your pant fitment to the next level, I personally believe it's best to consider either straight leg or tapered fitment. A straight leg fitment is exactly as it sounds. It's a great cut if you're on the heavier or extremely muscular side, or overall if you just prefer to have a more relaxed fitment. Now, I'm 5 feet 9 inches in height and about 175 pounds with what I'd like to consider an athletic physique. So I tend to prefer a tapered fitment, simply because I think it looks more elevated and allows me to pull off a wider range of outfits, from casual to sophisticated. I also think a wider or straight leg fitment tends to make me look a bit shorter and stocky, and that's definitely not the look I'm going for. But again, you know yourself and your body best. How slim or how muscular are you? How big are your thighs? Your calf muscles? Keep these things in consideration when deciding what tailoring style works best for you. A rule of thumb is you don't want anything to be clingy or contouring to your body. And if it is, it's probably too tight. Now, getting the proper taper, however, can get quite scientific. And trust me, I've screwed up myself in the past by getting my jeans and trousers way too tight than they ever needed to be. No. But hey, that's the point of this entire video. For a good taper, you want to ask your tailor to slightly tighten your trousers in the areas that seem to have excess fabric, like the thigh, knee, and ankle area. A huge emphasis on slightly. You want to avoid any contouring fitment, and your taper should more or less resemble a downward sloping straight line. And when it comes to dialing your ankle fitment, your leg opening is a major factor. It's best to make a preliminary decision of what type of footwear you'll generally be wearing with a specific type of trouser. Let me explain. For instance, I typically wear my dress trousers with a pair of dress or casual loafers and hardly ever with boots. And wearing the same pair of trousers that I typically would with a low-cut dress shoe will definitely look awkward and improperly fitting with a lace-up boot. This is simply because the leg opening isn't quite accommodating to a higher cut shoe, causing your trousers to bunch up at the ankle and ruin that perfect half break that we created earlier. And you may say, hey Fola, why don't you just cut the leg opening a little wider to accommodate both? Well, you could, but depending on your body type, this may or may not look flattering, as what you could get is a wider trouser fitment that's flaring all over the place and around your dress shoe and loafer. As you can see, your pant fitment is all closely related, from your waist fitment down to the body taper and leg opening. To address this, what I typically do is take the type of footwear I'd most likely be wearing with me to my tailor, and then have those trousers tailored to match that footwear accordingly, which is usually 6.5 to 6.25 inch leg opening for dress trousers, and about an inch wider for boots. I've also learned from years of tailoring and hundreds of dollars spent that my dress trousers tend to fall even better with about a 1-inch cuff. This helps drape the lightweight fabric of the dress trouser perfectly and creates a fail-proof full or half break. Remember, this is completely optional and trousers look just as great with or without a cuff. It all depends on the fabric. For khaki and jeans, my go-to choice of footwear is usually a pair of boots. So again, I tend to cut this with a slightly wider opening to A, accommodate the taller shaft of footwear, and B, maintain the proper pant break to my liking. With jeans, you definitely have a lot more leeway, since you could create your own custom pant length by simply cuffing your jeans and folding them by hand. Now you want to avoid a bulky cuff if you decide to go that route, and if you find yourself folding your jeans more than twice, then it's probably best to get them shortened a little. Now that we've got our pants perfectly tailored, let's compare and contrast all 3 pant styles before and after tailoring. So here's a pair of dress trousers with loafers. Here's a pair of cargo pants with boots. And finally, here's a pair of blue jeans with casual loafers. I'm sure that we can all agree that just by paying a little more attention to your trouser fitment, you could significantly clean up your style. And all you really need is a good tailor. And how to find a good tailor? Maybe that'll be a great topic for another video. But for now, start with a Google search and read some reviews. Ask about turnaround time and pricing to avoid any type of sticker shock. Certain alteration shops could be a little pricey or may be out of your desired price range. Gentlemen, that's it for this edition of SG Style Notes. Let me know what videos you'd like to see next in the comment section, and I'll catch you lads on the next one. Peace.